There's no question that Halo 5 had one of the most disliked campaigns and stories of the franchise. Hell, even Halo 4's campaign, despite having its own issues, didn't receive as much overwhelming hate as Halo 5 did. In fact, if there was one word to describe the whole campaign experience, it's disappointment. Disappointment from the supposed hunt for the truth that never really existed. Disappointment from all the built-up suspense that ultimately didn't really lead to anything. Disappointment from the epic clash of Spartans that turned out to be nothing more than this.
Like hell she is.
In fact, Halo 5 campaign's shortfall was so damaging that both the developers and fans alike were traumatized from the experience. So much so that some even considered Halo 5 to be the final nail in the coffin for a franchise that was way past its heyday under Bungie. Some even went so far as to beg for a complete retcon to wipe it from canon. Suffice to say, a lot of people were not happy, including myself. That said, it's been 11 years since Halo 5 released, and just like Halo 4, I've taken stock to reflect upon it and dare to question whether Halo 5 was really as bad as I remember it to be. And the verdict is that while Halo 5 still remains very flawed in the most important aspects, I do like certain parts of Halo 5 that I've slowly come to appreciate in hindsight. Positive parts that I tried to ignore back in 2015 because I felt so let down that I purposely refused to acknowledge them. Yes, Halo 5 still has a lot of problems, and I will eventually release my own critique in the next part. But there are already plenty of videos that dunk on it, and today, I would like to balance things out by showing what I liked about Halo 5's campaign. So let's get to it. Now, as an artist myself, I adore the visuals of Halo 5. Whether it's in-game or the cinematics between the levels, the incredibly detailed and diverse settings are just gorgeous. As much as Halo 5 struggled a lot in terms of narrative, it certainly made up for it in terms of its environmental storytelling. From the Forerunner garden world of Genesis, the ancient rocky landscapes of Helios, to the ethereal skylines of Sunayan, it's clear the environment artists put a lot of work into the background. In fact, places like Helios really allow the player to enjoy the magnificent view, from the various Heli statues, the derelict temples, and even the Elder Council chamber where you save the Arbiter. The homeworld of the Elites clearly has a story to tell. Even digging through some of the environmental concept art show many of the cool ideas that the developers had for the settings, and how much potential they could have had if they implemented it to the actual game. And speaking of the Elites, as a big fan of our favorite mandibled friends, another thing I applaud Halo 5 for is exploring parts of Halo's expanded universe, even if it's only a little bit. Although the Master Chief is the main superstar of the show, and no, not the Halo TV show, we forget that the Halo universe has so much more to offer than our favorite Spartan. A lot of underrated and overlooked stories that allow Halo to be much more than just Spartans curb-stomping colorful aliens in space. And for the most part, these stories were relegated to books and other external media, which made them nothing more than obscure footnotes that only fanatical lore nerds knew of. Fortunately, Halo 5 finally shed light on the expanded universe with settings such as Meridian and Helios. Humanity is often portrayed as this monolithic entity in the form of the UNSC, united against a common alien enemy. But the truth couldn't be more on the contrary. Before the Human Covenant War, humanity was rife with secessionist movements and armed rebellions, collectively known as the Insurrection. In fact, the entire Spartan program was originally initiated to combat the insurrection, only to be interrupted by the arrival of the Covenant. While there was a temporary truce during the Covenant onslaught, after the war, not only did hostilities resume, many newly independent colonies outright refused to submit to Earth or the UNSC, deciding to chart out their own way. And we get to experience that firsthand during the missions on Meridian, where we're able to witness what life is like beyond the UNSC's jurisdiction. Once a UNSC stronghold, Meridian has since been resettled by its former residents and a mining corporation seeking to terraform it to its previous state before the glassing. However, the colony has also cut all ties with the UNSC, feeling betrayed and abandoned by their former rulers. Such sentiments are made quite clear when interacting with the locals on the mission, who don't even try to hide their antipathy towards the Spartans. Moments like this show that the UNSC doesn't speak for all of humanity, nor are they always viewed as the good guys. nor is humanity alone in the galaxy for that matter. As shown by the Human Covenant War and its aftermath, the galaxy is filled with many other intelligent life forms, with some still hell-bent on wiping out humanity, while some are pragmatic and decided it's better off to work with humanity in this cold and dangerous galaxy. Still, when we look at the various races of the former Covenant, we typically think of the enemy. Wow, thanks Captain Obvious, you may also think. But many of us forget that just like humanity and Earth, these aliens also come from somewhere and have their own unique histories and cultures that develop their character as a species. And with the end of the Human Covenant War and the subsequent alliance between the UNSC and the Arbiter's Swords of Singhelios, comes a perfect opportunity for some intercultural exchanges between the two former enemies. Therefore, I was both grateful and absolutely ecstatic that Halo 5 finally introduced the homeworld of the Singhelios. And as Fireteam Osiris, we get a glimpse of the kind of lives our elite friends have, especially in contrast from their Covenant days. Unlike their Covenant days before, we now see the Singheli having shifted to a more crimson aesthetics in an attempt to revive their ancient traditions before the Writ of Union. With the Covenant no more, it only makes sense for the Arbiter and his Singheli to look to their long-lost past for inspiration, as they seek to build a new identity as a civilization. We also get to witness the arid landscapes and the magnificent ruins and temples that clearly have a lot of history behind them. In fact, many of these rocky architecture resemble ruins from our real world, such as the rock-cut city of Petra in modern-day Jordan. I certainly wouldn't be surprised if the artists designing Singhelios were inspired by these real-world examples. Yes, for most of the franchise, the Singheli were nothing more than elite mooks that gave the player a little bit of a challenge in combat. Well, unless we're talking about the Zealots in Halo Reach, which really gave you the run for the money on Legendary mode. But with the Covenant War over and the new yet fragile alliance between the UNSC and the Arbiter's Singheli, comes a new opportunity for both sides and us fans to learn more about our former enemies, especially who they are and what stories they have outside the battlefield. External media such as the books did shed some light on the Singheli, but I'm glad that Halo 5 actually brought the setting in-game and directly allowed the players to witness and explore Singhelios. Hell, they even brought back the Arbiter. Speaking of him, some dismiss this as nothing but fan service, but I'm glad that many of the beloved characters, both the previous games and the expanded universe, have returned. During the Master Chief's first mission, many players were confused by these Spartans fighting alongside him. Though they never appeared in any of the previous games, the interactions showed a sense of familiarity, as if they were long-lost comrades who've reunited. If you're a lore aficionado who's read the books, obviously you know who these Spartans are. Blue Team, composed of Chief, Fred, Kelly, and Linda, the very Spartan 2s who the Chief trained and fought alongside with since childhood. In fact, aside from Cortana, Blue Team may as well be the closest thing to a family for the Chief. And although the interactions could have been fleshed out more, I'm glad that the Chief isn't alone and has teammates he can count on, especially after losing Cortana. And of course, the one and only Nathan Fillion returns to reprise his role as Edward Buck, the hard-ass yet caring gunnery sergeant from Halo 3 ODST. I gotta say, not only does his armor look badass, being a perfect blend of the Gen 2 armor with ODST BDUs, but the face capture also did it justice, resulting in some memeable shots like this. Now, I do wish that Buck's humorous personality shined a bit more beyond just one-liners. In fact, that was an issue with most of the characters in Halo 5, though that's reserved for the next video. Still, it's great to see Buck still alive and kicking ass. If only the rookie made it as well. Thirdly, if you can't tell by now, what I'm most happy about is the one and only Arbiter, the former Supreme Commander of the Covenant, and now leader of the Swords of Singhelios, making his overdue comeback. After Halo 3, while the Master Chief was fighting the Didact in Halo 4, the Arbiter was finishing his own fight back home against the resurgent Covenant. While many Singheli such as Julam Dama still seek to revive the Great Journey in their own ways, some, such as the Arbiter, have decided to look forward, leading his people to a future beyond the sins of the Covenant. A future where the Singheli get to decide their own destiny and stand with the rest of the galaxy, including their former enemies such as humanity. And we can see just how far he's come in Halo 5, having once been an overzealous warrior of the Covenant, With unquestioning loyalty to the prophets, the Arbiter is now one of humanity's most ardent supporters, as well as a respected leader and statesman of Helios, symbolizing his people's unity and resilience during these precarious times, as well as cooperation within the galaxy. In fact, over time, he has grown to view certain humans as friends, and nothing represents these sentiments better than his fire-forged friendship and companionship with the Master Chief. Although the Arbiter and the Master Chief never really interacted throughout Halo 5's campaign, only reuniting at the very end, the very mention of Chief still gets him excited, as shown by this scene.
Victory and honor do not grow from timid seeds, Spartan Locke. Your harvest shall be grand. When you see the Chief again, tell him I send my greetings.
I will indeed, sir.
Locke, I've never heard a Sangheili address a human like that.
I'll try not to let it go to my head.
While I do wish the Arbiter and the Chief had more proper interactions, I'm still glad to see the Arbiter doing well and how he now works alongside humanity.
And now you hunt other Spartans.
I'm not so much hunting a Spartan as I'm hunting the Spartan.
You seek.
117.
I was not told the identity of your prey.
That is why I'm sharing it with you now. We're talking about trust after all. May I ask you something? Your people used to call him Demon. Was that an insult or a compliment?
An insult, to be sure, but one with a modicum of respect. He was indeed my enemy, but in time, I named him ally, even friend. The events which forged this bond were complicated.
Now, this isn't exactly about the campaign itself, but still very much relevant to it, which is the enormous marketing campaign 343 conducted. In fact, Halo 5 had genuinely one of the greatest marketing stunts of all time, almost comparable to Halo 3's marketing. The Hunt the Truth audio logs, and all the teasers and trailers showing the Chief and Locke about to face off each other, all sincerely got me hyped up. As someone who absolutely loves Cloak and Dagger conspiracy theories and black operations, Hunt the Truth really got me hooked onto the darker sides of Halo, and I really enjoyed waiting every Sunday afternoon to tune in on Ben Gerard's escapades against Oni, and just how far they're willing to go to silence the truth. And all the trailers were absolute icing on the cake as well. The idea of two Spartan teams playing a cat and mouse game made things so much more intriguing, giving off serious Captain America vs. Iron Man vibes. Therefore, I was genuinely excited for Halo 5's story, and had very high expectations. And I really wanted Halo 5 to succeed and have the franchise make an epic comeback like Doom did in 2016. But unfortunately, such high expectations are what ultimately led to one of the greatest disappointments for many. And that is what we will cover in the next video. Despite its shortcomings, Halo 5 is still a beautiful looking game. Even with a lackluster story, one cannot deny the great visuals, and it's clear that a lot of hard work was put into it. The beautiful environments and an attempt to expand the Halo universe beyond the Master Chief is something that, looking back, I can appreciate more. Furthermore, story aside, it is a fun game to play as well, with an interesting variety of enemies and weapons, which is also not something I ever expected to say. Furthermore, as an artist who really enjoys the visual details of any form of entertainment, I also want to commend the efforts of those who worked on the game. Many of us need to realize that a lot of hardworking and passionate people put their heart and soul into developing their favorite games, especially the lower level designers, programmers, and artists who endure a lot of crunches and sleepless nights and put their blood, sweat, and tears into these projects. Now, that's not to say we shouldn't criticize our favorite games, nor that criticizing a game somehow invalidates the hard work. Not at all. Constructive criticism of the final product should always be allowed, and in fact, if anybody truly deserves scrutiny for any blunders, it is the leadership and management that made all the decisions. At the same time, we could also give grace and show some gratitude and appreciation for the people that still put the hard work into it. That said, even if you have an incredibly talented and passionate team under your disposal, without proper leadership and vision, the final product can still fall short. And that is where we will go into for the next part. as I go into what I did not like about Halo 5's campaign. But before I did that, I still wanted to balance things out by showing what I liked about it as well. Halo 5's campaign has already been dragged under enough as it is. It doesn't hurt to show some appreciation as well. So with all that said, I'd like to know if there is anything you liked about Halo 5's campaign, or any other aspects for that matter, such as its multiplayer, which did actually get much better reception from what I remember. And as always, let's keep the comment section respectful down there. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time. Thank you to my patrons on Patreon for supporting this channel. My $5 patrons are Kapitan Sladek, Kidsap, Chocoburb, and Dravenraven. My $2 patrons are Komida the Prep Cook Demon. If you would like to appear at the end credits of my videos, as well as have early access and exclusive content on Patreon, feel free to hop on over to patreon.com/LTELawrence and give a pledge. Your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you for watching. Until next time, this is T. Lawrence of the Arcadia, signing out.